Welcome to my LGBT lesbian channel. The series Checkmate, Stripper and Dance for Me are voiced for you in full history. Thank you for your comments, reactions and subscription to my channel. Have a nice day everyone. Camila Cabello's point of view. The dinner proceeded slowly, in a sort of psychological torture for me. Christopher conversed politely with Thomas, who was smoking his Scottish cigar, letting out the puffs of smoke through his thick lips amid fake and forced smiles. Business meetings were always like this, one wanting to swallow the other, to do better, to have the best offer, but in the end always closing a deal. The lack of patience that night made me remain quiet during the entire dinner, except for brief exchanges of words with my husband, who by the way seemed to have sensed my irritation. Christopher stared at me for brief seconds, and rested his hand on my thigh, caressing lightly. I didn't even move. I continued savoring the red wine that filled my glass of fine crystal. "This restaurant is very good, Collins." Thomas spoke good-humored. "I love it too. It was here that I asked my wife to marry me, right, baby?" I flashed a wry smile, and lightly removed Christopher's hand from my thigh, placing it on the table. He swallowed hard, staring at me with narrowed eyes. "Yes, good memories from here," I allowed myself to say. "I imagine so." Perhaps that was one of my few interactions that dinner. I was in a bad mood, angry, furious to be more exact. Before we left Collins Enterprise, Christopher had the brilliant idea to dismiss Lauren's services, ordering her to leave in my car, and to take the secretary home before returning the vehicle to our garage. Should I even say how much that irritated me? Seeing the agent smile as she led the miserable secretary to the exit caused me a sudden burst of anger, but I knew my limits very well, and where I can reach. On the way back home I remained quiet, just like during dinner. Our driver was driving the vehicle at a high speed, according to my orders. Next to me, Christopher kept quiet as he smoked one of his cigarettes. He stared at the buildings outside, in a distracted gaze, almost lost. When he took a deep breath and turned towards me, "Can I know the reason why you are like this?" I let my eyes look away from the images outside the vehicle to land them on Christopher's confused expression. He stared at me with that pair of intense blue eyes, squeezed by his open eyelids. "Is it because of your car? Because I let Lauren use it?" I wish it was because of that. Imagining that secretary making out with Lauren in my car caused me anger. Obvious. Why else would it be? The man rolled his eyes impatiently. He brought the cigarette up to his lips, taking one last drag before putting it out in the ashtray on the right. He shook his head slowly and looked at me. "What's the problem in that? She drove you here, right?" "Yes, and because of that you will offer my car for her to take your little secretary home?" I said, emphasizing on the words. "My car and little secretary." Christopher grinned, still with his eyes fixed on me. I frowned at him, being taken by the confusion of that moment. Why the hell was he laughing? "So that's it?" he asked amid a loud laugh. "What?" My voice tone revealed how upset I was. "You are jealous of me with Clarice? You are acting like this because I asked for her to be taken home?" I tried to formulate a sentence before that stupid idea of Christopher, but I knew that the truth was not welcome there. What would my husband say if he knew that my nuisance wasn't for him, but for Lauren? I believe it wouldn't end well. I closed my eyes and shook my head. "Don't speak nonsense," exclaimed irritated, only increasing the man's loud laugh. "My love, you look beautiful when you are jealous." Christopher, Don't mess with me. You are unnecessarily jealous. Clarice is with me for years, and only now you get bothered? I don't like her. Camilla. I didn't say anything, I just accommodated myself in my seat. And Christopher held in his laughter. He seemed amused with the non-existent jealousy in his head. Men always thinking that the world revolves around them. I rolled my eyes and sighed heavily, remaining quiet the rest of the way. When we got home, I walked in hurried steps towards the bedroom. After a warm bath, I put on a light nightshirt and lay on my bed. I didn't want to talk, let alone have sex that night. I was terribly angry with the ideas that surrounded my head. Already going to sleep? I heard my husband's raspy voice. Yes, I have a headache, I said as I pulled the duvet over me. Honey, I can make it better. No, thanks. Good night, I said in a serious way as I turned around to my side of the bed. I heard my husband's irritated sigh. He moved on the bed, pulling the duvet to his body. I extended my arm, turning off the light from the lamp on the nightstand. All I needed that night was to simply sleep. On the following day, I woke up and noticed Christopher's absence in our bed. Whenever we slept badly, he woke up earlier than usual to go to work. Which didn't bother me at all. I actually even preferred it. Avoiding a morning argument was all that I needed. Good morning, ma'am, Eliza spoke serenely upon entering my bedroom. Good morning, Eliza, I said as I combed my hair before the mirror. I came to tell you that Agent Yaregui is on the phone, and she asked if you will need her services today. She's on her way here. I was silent for a few seconds, thinking about my day. And strangely, I didn't want Lauren's presence. I was still a little irritated with her. Tell her that I don't need her services today. Eliza nodded and turned her attention to the phone in her hand. She won't need your services today, Agent. The woman was silent, listening to what Lauren had to say. Yes, ma'am, I'm sure. You don't need to come. Within minutes, Eliza ended the call with Lauren, who seemed to question my decision too much. Lauren Yaregui's point of view. I ended the call with Eliza, who informed me that Mrs. Collins strangely didn't need my services that morning. I found it strange that she didn't even want to hear me, nor give me the message herself. Is there a problem? Vero asked upon entering the room. I left the phone on my desk and stared at Veronica. She organized a stack of files on her desk as she waited for my answer. Camilla said she doesn't need my services today. Is that bad? No, it's actually good. Staying away from her leaves my sanity in a balanced state. And why are you with that face? She asked when she sat on her swivel chair. I just found it strange. That woman likes to tease me, and today she didn't even want to hear my voice. Vero remained silent, which made me stare at her in the attempt to see if she was listening to me. Does it bother you that she doesn't want to talk to you, Yaregui? Her voice tone revealed the second intentions behind her words. Don't even start. It doesn't bother me at all, it's whatever. I spoke with certain disdain as I stood up from my chair. I walked over to the file cabinet, where I took care of organizing the pending documents on my desk. I felt Iglesias' gaze weigh on my back, but I wouldn't continue talking about that subject. Changing the subject, Lauren. What? Did you talk to Clarice? Who? Vero rolled her eyes impatiently. Christopher's secretary. Oh, yes, I did. She stared at me, probably waiting for the continuation of the matter. I was a bit airy, trying to understand why Camilla didn't want my presence today. Well, yesterday after taking Camilla to Collins Enterprise, Christopher gave me a great opportunity. He asked me to take the secretary home in Camilla's car. In the boss's car? Yes, she owns a Ferrari, I said, laughing. Wow, imagining that hottie driving a Ferrari makes me. Iglesias. -1 exclaimed, pay attention. Vero raised her hands in surrender. We talked the whole way. She is very discreet and I believe that it's too hard to get some information from her. But I asked her out tonight. And she accepted? Of course, I threw all my charm at the woman. Yaregui in actione, the woman said through a scandalous laugh. Shut up, the plan was yours. And it was a wonderful plan, by the way. Veronica Iglesias, cocky as ever. But this time I would agree. Yes, that plan was great. Even though I'm using a woman to get information. -1 shrugged. Yes, not everything is perfect. But you are not impregnating the woman or making her fall in love. You are just going out with her. You are right, I'll go out with her today and find out some things. And I'll even have a pleasant night. Best way to an investigation, Yaregui. Excuse me, agents. We heard Normani's voice, who in this exact instant walked into the room. Unlike usual, she wasn't wearing the police department's uniform. She was wearing a pair of white fabric pants and a patterned blouse, on her feet brown high heels. She was pretty neat for a day at the precinct, I would say. It was then that I remembered that she had been called for a job. Interview at Collins Enterprise. You are coming from there? The woman nodded and approached, sitting in the chair in front of me. I was hired, she said excitedly. Oh. If you like that I voiced the continuation of the series Stripper and want me to continue, please like and write a comment on the video. This will be an incentive to continue working on translation and dubbing.